Welcome to In Edina, a program about the people, places, and activities all in the city of Edina. I'm your host, Lillian McDonald. We bring you this broadcast from the model home at the beautiful brownstones on France. And this time we're talking about conserving energy, conserving water, helping the environment, and saving a few pennies along the way. And getting us started, we are meeting with utility engineer Jesse Struve, and you're here to talk about lawn watering. And of course, the sprinklers are going like crazy right now. This is the season.
Correct.
So as the utility engineer, part of your work is monitoring the amount of water the city of Edina residents and commercial facilities are using throughout the year. Is water up? Obviously, it must be up in the summer. How much more so than wintertime?
Correct. Our water usage will jump about 4 to 5 times over what we see in the winter months.
Wow, that's a ton.
Yeah, well over a ton, actually.
But, really?
Yes.
There's limitations on how much supply there is in the city. Is that one of the reasons why you kind of monitor it so well, or why?
Correct. I mean, we only have so many wells and we can only produce so much water. So in the summer months, when it gets really dry and people water their lawns heavily, we can get up to our peak capacity. And
it's important to regulate that so that there's water to put out fires as well as water to water the yards.
Correct,
right?
correct.
Most cities have a watering ban or a watering regulation, the odd, even days. How does it work in the city of Edina? Because the rules apply differently in each city.
Yeah, in the city of Edina, we have an odd, even watering ban, meaning an even addressed home can only water their lawns on even dates of the year. Mm-hmm. And then the same goes for the odd addressed homes. Now, the unique thing that Edina has is it restricts water usage, or for lawn watering anyways, between 11 a.m. and 5 p.m., meaning that you cannot water during the middle part of the day.
Okay, why is that?
For the most part, watering in the middle part of the day when it's the hottest and the sun is out the strongest, a good majority of the water that's sprayed on the yard will actually evaporate into the air. So it doesn't do what's intended by the residents.
So it's sort of a method of conservation by the city, as a matter of fact.
Correct.
Okay, interesting. So water before 11 or after 5, and that's enough time to move the hoses around or get the sprinkler system going. But I bet you see people that have sprinklers going when they're not supposed to be going, right?
We do, and there are some fines that are progressively gets worse.
Okay, so what are the fines?
The first is a written warning.
Okay.
The second offense will be a $50 fine. The third offense would be a $100 fine. The fourth offense would be a $200 fine.
Wow. Okay.
And then each time you get caught after that would be a $300 fine.
Well, all right. So you're trying to get the message across.
Correct.
With a monetary penalty. Wow. Okay. Yeah, and it makes sense because, after all, again, this is about regulating water systems in the city so that everybody's got something to work with when they need at home or at work or in emergency situations, and so that's a value. Any pet peeves you might see out there, something that people can remember? I mean, I know when you're going out and you're touring the city of Edina and it's raining outside and the sprinkler's going.
Correct. And you see that a lot, especially with commercial buildings. They just set the timer and it goes off every 2 days at a certain time. Just be sure if Mother Nature is taking care of the watering for you, no need to run your sprinkler system.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Make the adjustment with
Correct.
the weather forecast.
Correct.
What about if I'm sodding or seeding?
You can get a permit to be able to water every day. You just have to go to the Public Works Department and pick one up.
Okay.
And that will allow you to water for about 14 days. And then after that 14-day period, then you can continue on with the odd even watering ban.
Wonderful. Any special exceptions for gardening or anything like that, or is it strictly for grass?
Just for new sod.
Okay, new sod or seed.
Or seed, correct.
All right, wonderful. Jesse, thank you so much. Thanks for helping us have nice, clean water to work with throughout the city of Edina, and keep it enough to go around all season, all year round.
Thank you.
If you have a garden and you've thought about composting, it's really pretty easy to do. And joining us to tell us how and all the benefits at home by composting is Angie Timmons from the Hennepin County Environmental Services Environmental Educator. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
I have thought about this. I have to admit, I've got a lot of questions. I'm a little nervous. Is it messy? Composting, what are the benefits?
There's so many benefits. Really, it takes the food scraps that would ordinarily end up in the trash and eventually in a landfill and puts them to a better use. If you're a gardener, you can use that finished compost to really improve your soils and improve your gardening.
But is it a lot of work? That's the perception I have, and maybe others have too, that it's a lot of work.
It really isn't. There's sort of a whole range of composting. So you can be a lazy composter like me and really only put the stuff in and not really mess with it too much. Or you can be a really active composter and you can, fiddle around with it on a weekly basis. And the only difference there is you'll get your finished compost a little faster the more active you are.
All right, so how much compost do I get if I'm a lazy composter?
Well, it all depends on how much you put in your bin. It's surprising in how fast they shrink down. So you don't get a whole lot of compost. If it's just, a small household and maybe your typical yard waste, you're maybe going to get 3 or 4 yards of compost in a season.
But that can make a big difference in a garden.
Yeah, if you have that garden, it's great to put it right back in the soils. And it really holds moisture and really helps your plants, especially in our season where we have July and August when things get really dry. Having that compost in your soil really helps hold the moisture in the place.
Which is very handy. So we're talking about reusing food, scraps basically, and yard waste into a compost that re-energizes the earth.
Exactly.
And it's not a lot of work, right?
It's very easy.
All right,
really,
well,
don't be afraid.
What are the ingredients exactly?
You want to start with the green materials, and that's going to be fruit and vegetable peelings. And you'll see like lettuce and any sorts of things like that. Eggshells.
And these are the common things that we have at home. I mean,
Yeah.
I can see coffee grounds in here too. I'm good for that.
Yep, even the filters, you can compost those. You can throw that all right in your container there. And also your grass clippings are considered in the greens category.
Oh, good.
So you've got about 1 part green material to 3 part brown material.
Okay, 1 part green to 3 part brown. And these are, I got tons of these at home, let me tell you.
It's just dried up leaves. And this is really great in the fall when you're collecting your leaves to hold back a bag or two, or in the spring when you're cutting back all your plants, all that dead brown material. Just keep that around and use that with your compost bin throughout the summer.
So I'm tossing this in this compost container, right? What kind of container would be suitable for composting?
Well, you have a lot of options. So you can build your own compost bin. You can use chicken wire or rot-resistant wood like cedar to build your own kind of bin, or you can buy a commercially available bin, usually made out of recycled plastic. And what you want to look for is really the size of the bin, and you want to keep it under 30 square feet.
What's neat about this is we're kind of working together with the environment. We've got the ingredients from the house and the yard into the container, and then we're working with the sun. You have to have so many days of sun or water or stirring it up, or how does the activity work in the compost bin?
What you want to do is have your container located somewhere where it gets some sun but not full sun. And then sun really helps heat up the compost, but if it gets too hot or too much sun, then it overcooks it, and the microbes aren't going to survive in that environment. Another really important thing to do with composting is make sure you add some water to the bin. That's one of the common things we find when people say, well, it's just not really composting, nothing much is happening. It's probably too dry, and it really does need some moisture. So when I know it's going to rain, I'll just lift off the lid of my bin and let some of the rain get in there.
And of course, this is the yield, right?
That's the finished compost.
And it is really healthy. This is probably better than potting soil, isn't it?
Well, it really helps when you're planting things. They say like a 2 parts soil to 1 part compost can really help add that moisture holding capacity. So you can tell like this is really light and fluffy, and it just helps the dirt allow air and nutrients to move through and the roots to grow.
Now the city has some specifications about where you can locate a compost bin. Some of the regulations may vary from city to city, but the size and shape approximately here in Edina.
Yep, I understand that depending on your square footage of your yard, that depends on the size of the bin. So under 9,000 square feet, your bin shouldn't be larger than 30 square feet. And then if it's over that size, 50 square feet.
Okay, and away from a neighbor's and or property line, 5 feet.
Right, and that's just kind of common sense. If
Courtesy.
you're going to have your compost bin in your backyard, it might be great for you, but maybe you don't want to see your neighbors. So if you could just keep it a little bit away from both the property line and also any buildings you have. Some people put it right next to their house or their garage, and the moisture behind it actually may cause some problems.
What about odors? Are there any odors with this work?
There really isn't. If you're composting in the right way, you shouldn't have any odors. And that would mean don't add the meat or dairy products. Those might cause the odors. And then if you're putting in the food waste scraps, cover them up again with that brown material, or just pull back some of the compost that's on top and bury the waste. Then you shouldn't have any odors. It smells like clean dirt.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Angie Timmons, environmental educator, thank you so much for encouraging us to compost.
Thank you.
If you're interested in home efficiency that can save you a little money every year, call the Home Energy Squad. It's a new program by CenterPoint Energy and Xcel Energy. And joining us to talk about their work, Larry Pitch, the Conservation Marketing Manager. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thanks so
Morning.
much for joining us. What a
My
cool
pleasure.
program.
Yes, it's a great thing. A very unique program where CenterPoint Energy is partnering with Xcel Energy to offer homeowners a way to make improvements to their home where they can start saving energy and money right away.
And we're talking about gas and electricity.
Correct.
And one call does it all.
That's exactly it. We developed the program in response to consumer requests. There's a lot of information out there, and they really want to make improvements, but very often they're not really sure where to start, and they're not really sure how much is enough. This way, actually, they don't need to know. They simply call the Home Energy Squad and sign up for an appointment. The squad will come out and make an assessment in the home, review their findings with you, and once you agree, start making the installations on energy-saving products.
Right there on the spot.
Exactly.
That sounds really convenient.
It is. I mean, one of the things that happens for people is if you don't know what to do, multiple trips to the store, you're not really sure what to start. Gee, will I like the light bulbs? The Home Energy Squad will answer all of these questions because they arrive with all the equipment on the spot. So in the span of an hour and a half, it is all done. You've gone from, gee, I think I really need to do something, to, look, it's all done.
Wow, I like that. Now, basically, you choose from one of two packages, right?
Right, that's a starting point. We have a basic package, which costs $50, and a premium package that costs $80. However, it's really just a starting point. And by that I mean it's really very consultative. Once the tech crew arrives in the home and they look at your needs, they'll discuss with you what they find relative to what you've signed up for, and you will agree together on what it is that they'll install.
What are the common things, the most common things people need change to save the gas and electricity costs?
Common items would be compact fluorescent light bulbs, which many people have done some. You can go through and do more. Programmable thermostats are a big energy saver.
Yeah, who wants to mess with the electricity on that one?
Well, exactly. And also here's a chance where on things that might be more than you want to tackle, you have a professional crew that's been trained who will put the installation in so you know it's been done right.
Right.
They will install weather stripping on a door. They will install low flow shower heads and aerators on your faucets as well. And I think that's kind of a hidden area where people, you know, they're spending money to heat the water all year long, and this is a way where you can retain the water pressure but reduce your usage as well as your gas and energy usage.
So they'll take a look at the water heater as well?
They will. And if you have a water heater, certainly older models, one of the things that they may recommend that you do is install a water heater blanket, an insulation blanket. And that'll just keep more of the heat that's being generated by the unit itself inside the tank and in the water.
So these costs, the average amount someone would spend on a Home Energy Squad visit and picking some changes to make in the home, what's the average cost about?
Average is a little hard to pinpoint, but you know, a homeowner might spend $200 if they want to add some additional items.
Okay.
But at the same time, even at the current cost of energy, they'll save about $200 in energy in the first year. So even if you buy additional things beyond the package, you'll have made back that visit cost in the first year.
Yeah, and that's a big deal. And you can tell how much energy you're saving because right there on your bills, it lets you know month to month how much you're using, and so you'll be able to see some of the reductions, correct?
Yes, you should be able to. Obviously, on your bill, you'll have the units of either gas or electricity that you've used one month to the next, and you can line it up.
Great. Now, this is important for old and new homes, right?
It is. Obviously, I think older homes, probably the needs are greater, and if you're in an older home, you know your windows might be drafty or your doors might be drafty. There are many things that can be done. But your point is exactly right. There are always things that can be done to improve energy efficiency.
All right, so this is part education and part installation, all for good savings over time and a help for the environment.
Exactly.
Larry, thank you so much for Home Energy Squad. How do we get an appointment?
Just log on to homeenergysquad.net, or you can call 866-222-4595 and set an appointment.
All right, thank you so much for joining us.
You're
Good
welcome.
luck.
My pleasure.
The Refrigerator Recycle Program can help you haul away an inefficient appliance and pay you to do it. Here to talk about the Refrigerator Rebate Program, Kelsey Burridge from XL Energy Program Manager. Thanks for joining us on Edina.
Thank you for having me.
There are all kinds of appliance rebates going on anymore.
There is, yep. There are a lot of appliance rebates out there, and XL Energy is kind of jumping on the bandwagon and offering $35 to our electric customers who opt to get rid of their secondary refrigerator.
Wow, and by secondary refrigerator, you're talking about a second unit that's been in the home. You know, I know families would buy a second refrigerator and store up food and drink in it because they would see a savings on the grocery bill. But some of those refrigerators aren't necessary anymore.
Yep, and you can actually save money by not having it as well. You can save up to $100 on your utility bill if you remove that secondary refrigerator.
So reevaluate. Do I really need 2 refrigerators in the home?
Yep.
Okay. So to qualify for this, what does it take to qualify?
To qualify, you have to be an electric and XL Energy customer, residential customer. You have to have and own the working secondary refrigerator and have it be a secondary refrigerator for at least 6 months. Unfortunately, we don't recycle primary refrigerators through the program. And then you just need to call us, make sure that your refrigerator qualifies, and then schedule a date that's convenient for you to pick it up.
So you have a hauler who comes and picks this thing up. I'm amazed by this because that's
Yeah.
a savings in itself of up to $50.
Right.
And then you give us a $35 rebate.
Correct.
Wow, what a deal. Does this program go on forever or how long? Is there a limit?
It will be going on throughout the rest of the year.
Okay. How do I know if my refrigerator, whether it's primary or secondary, really is an efficient refrigerator these days anymore?
You know, a good way to check is just to see if it is an Energy Star refrigerator. Otherwise, I'm sure there are, websites out there, or even just to call the manufacturer and see how efficient your current refrigerator is.
Right, and technology has changed. Is that what's making this equipment better now?
Yep, technology is constantly changing, especially in this era of energy efficiency and going green. We are seeing, better technology with refrigerators that really makes the older ones, even as of 10 years ago, more inefficient than the ones today.
So if I have a refrigerator that's a couple years old, it's probably still pretty efficient. But if
Right.
I've got something that's 5 years old or more, is that a reasonable amount of time to start really looking at it?
Yep.
Good. Okay, so secondary refrigerators, they can be recycled, right? I mean, what do you do with all these old refrigerators you pick up?
We haul them away to our recycling center where they are broken down, all the different materials, and 95% of it is recycled. So 95% does not end up in a landfill somewhere.
Oh, that's a nice deal too.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So secondary refrigerators has to be in working condition, in the home for at least 6 months.
Yep.
Call and check it out or go to your website, right?
Right. Yep, the website is responsiblebynature.com/fridge.
All right. Kelsey, thank you very much for telling us about the Refrigerator Recycle Program on Edina.
Thank you.
This month, our show features on environmental saving tips that can make a difference at home. Now we introduce you to a retired school teacher whose full-time volunteer work is rallying efforts to save energy not only in Edina, but around the world.
I better sign in. My job is education and outreach.
Paul Thompson used to teach kids in a classroom.
Thousands of people are going to see this. It will be marching in the parade.
If I'm not talking to people personally, I'm on the computer.
Now, instead of books, Thompson hopes his blog will convince readers worldwide why 350 is the magic number.
350 is the most important number on the planet because 350 represents the parts per million of CO2 that has been deemed the safe maximum level for us to continue having life on the planet. the way it's been.
Saving the planet for Thompson means reducing the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere from today's almost 400 parts per million to 350, where some scientists and activists say is a healthier place to be for the Earth.
This is our 350 day of action last year.
To reach 350, Thompson organizes Frisbee tournaments and ski trips so people spend more energy outdoors.
We had about 92 people all throwing Frisbees into the air.
Instead of burning energy by using electricity indoors.
And then this picture is me blogging in the Bella Center in Copenhagen.
The blog helps communicate a campaign called 350 Solutions Revolution.
We have a lot of work to do.
In addition to tips on saving energy here at home, Thompson posts updates on trips to convince political leaders to adopt new policies that support 350 around the world.
That's a photograph of me knocking on the door of the U.S. delegation to give them cards from people in Edina.
Last year in Copenhagen, environmentalists were unsuccessful at changing laws during political talks. But this year, Thompson is gearing up bikes for a cross-country ride to Washington, D.C., where 350 talks will continue on Capitol Hill.
And we're trying to bring hundreds of people along with us.
Activists know they have a long road ahead, but Thompson's blog will keep everyone connected in an effort to save energy and the Earth.
If we can really rally people together, that we can make a difference.
If you're interested, you're welcome to follow along. Just visit 350solutionsrevolution.org. Well, we hope you've enjoyed our broadcast on how to be a little bit more green to save the environment and save a little money as well. Special thanks to all of our guests for joining us on this program and to Noonan Construction for letting us bring you this broadcast from their beautiful model home at Brownstones-on-France. I'm Lillian McDonald, the host of In Edina. Until next time, make it a great day.